Zach Hill.
Yeah.
Didn't steal him.
Okay.
Not completely.
Okay.
I called Nick.
Mhm.
I did it the right way.
Yes, you did.
Called him, and respect Nick very much for what he's done. But Zach knew him at Eastern Washington. I didn't know him that well, but Junior Adams, who was on our staff, he and Junior had worked together. And actually, Bo Baldwin, the head coach, I'd been talking to him as we were looking for a coordinator. He said, you watch Eastern Washington, what they do, they're successful. And so, hey, what do you think about certain guys? And obviously Zach's name came up, and tough deal for Nick in that situation. I've been there too, but I he handled it well. I thought our conversation, that's never easy, but
probably worked out better with Zach starting the family and wanting to sort of stay
for his family. Yeah, it's just where they're at, and grandparents and all that. He just had a baby boy a couple months ago, which is kind of funny. They already had the name picked out. Our starting quarterback is Brett Rippon, but they named their son Brett. Our backup quarterback is Tommy, so it's Brett Thomas. I'm not sure how he worked all that out. He said he already had the name picked out.
No
before.
Bryan in there?
Huh? No. No, I'm not sure we're Harsin. Maybe that's his nickname. We just call him Hars as his nickname. But
he's not calling the plays. You're calling it now.
I am, but he is heavily involved. He and Scott Huff. And there'll certainly be suggestions in there where we work together on it. But ultimately, yes, I've got the play calling duties.
How has that worked out so far? I mean, did you test it much in the spring? I mean, how has the play calling gone, or is it something you're just gonna pick right back up?
No, you have to work at it. You do. I think that's important. You also, the way Mike did it, the way Eli did it, is still different than the way that I do it. I just everybody, and you have to kind of let guys do that too. But my game plan's a little different. Maybe the way it's structured and organized, and just how I call plays, and there's things you're comfortable with that and that or have worked successfully for you in certain situations. But then you had a guy like Zach in there, and it's like, well, what about this? That's what I love about Zach. Zach's kind of a what-if guy, and it's challenging, and it's not in a bad way where it slows anything down, but have made some adjustments off of that because I want Zach to feel comfortable too calling plays, because there'll certainly be times in there that we're going to rely on Zach to make a call. There's certainly times in there where Coach Huff is going to have to make a call, all right, in a game, and I want that from those guys. And so, like right now, one of the hardest things in football is putting together like a fall camp install. Everybody thinks you just run the same stuff. Well, the way we do it, it's this jigsaw puzzle of just putting all these pieces together, and those guys are doing it right now, and they're getting a chance to kind of go through the gauntlet, I call it. I remember when Pete, I was the tight ends coach, and he walked in there one day, and we had the whole board. He's like, you do it, because he had just done with it. And I was like, 8 days later of, almost 24 hours, I felt like getting it. I had it done. And those guys are doing that right now, which is good. But, everybody on our staff on the offensive side has a piece and part to what we do in that game plan. And it needs to be done right, and it needs to be taught right. But, that's the fun part about it is it's not just one idea. And I think that's why, we've had success in the past is you've got smart coaches using it. They understand football. They know how to teach it. They know how to game plan.
Didn't your play calling system kind of evolve in your 1 year at Arkansas State?
It did. Yeah. The one, at Arkansas State, I tried to call plays, and if you go back, it was my freshman year as a coach and all that. All the stuff outside of just the football part of it, I didn't have a great handle. I tried to do too much, I think, and was trying to manage everything. And I think now, you're able to delegate, and you have people, and you trust them to do those jobs. Hey, you have this, you have that. It doesn't take you away from what's going on and out of the loop, but at the same time, in order to concentrate on the football part of it more, because you can't stay away from football and then just to show up and have a game plan and expect that you're going to be a great play caller. You can't do that. You need to watch tape. You need to know the opponent. You need to have called plays throughout the week in practice. You have to practice calling plays. You need to know what your quarterback thinks about every play. And that's probably what I learned By Friday, I kind of had the game plan. I've been a part of it throughout the entire week, but didn't really have that same. I wasn't ingrained as much as I was as a coordinator, and I'm still not going to be able to do that completely, but have a lot better people, not better, but just people that are doing their jobs with the players and all the other things that go on with a football team that's going to allow me to do more of the football part of it at the times I need to.
Can you talk a little bit about the standards and expectations at Boise State, and if you felt like you fell short of that last year, and how much that would drive you this year?
I think we fell short of that my first year. We lost 2 games. I think the expectations are we're trying to find a way to win every single game. The expectations in the conference is to win the Mountain. That's it. It all starts there. But at the end of the year, I mean, we have building blocks of how we want to get to certain points. It's going to be with Lafayette in that first game, but I don't think no one sets out to say I want to be 12-2, 9-4, 10-3. No one says that. I want to win every single game, and I've been able to be a part of that at certain times. So, that is the standard, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. And our guys understand that. It's just the process is more important. How do we get to that? How do we do it week in and week out? How do we prepare for that? To me, that's the key ingredient of what we're trying to work on and trying to get done. But expectations, all the outside noise and all that, we already have our own. We have our internal expectations. What I want to make sure of is that the outside expectations don't affect what we do internally. That's what I want to make sure of. Because in those losses, I think there was turning points in our losses last year for this football team. I really do. Some people talk about all the turning points when you win. There's a turning point when you lose, and it's not always negative. And I think we had a couple of those moments that have carried us into where we are right now in the offseason and going into fall camp.
There's some people out there saying, "Oh, you guys are the ones that could go undefeated and crash the CFP party and all that." I mean, do you pay attention to that? I mean, you'd rather have those expectations, like you said, than trying to go 6-6 and get to a bowl. I mean, how do you look at how do you look at that kind of outside talk, because it is out there?
Yeah, and it's just talk. That's, to be honest with you, I've probably listened to some of that. And I think I think this is just maturing through this profession and all that. None of that matters. It all matters at the end of the year. I mean, hopefully we're undefeated. I hope everything you guys say happens. Certainly, I don't want to say what's not going to happen. Self-fulfilling prophecy and all that, but. I also know that, we're not even into fall camp yet. Is everybody going to be healthy for that? Is everybody going to be healthy after day 1, day 2? It really becomes that. And I think, that formula, if everybody stays healthy and we develop the way we want to, then let's go play. All right, let's see how we play in those games. But all that really, it doesn't mean anything right now because we haven't done anything. Let's go get ready in fall camp. Let's go play Lafayette. And then really after that, what's next?
You say you want to win every game, though, and that's the goal. I mean, would you like to be able to make that become a topic of discussion down the road in December? I mean, that's obviously.
You know what? Absolutely. In December, sure. When you ask me this, when we're actually in a position, if we are, to have this conversation, sure, we'll talk about it. And that's something, we don't shy away from that. We don't shy away from saying we want to win, and that's important to us. But I also just learned that, we have to actually go do it first. And we just got to focus on what we're doing right now and then focus on Lafayette and figure out how we win that game. Because all that's never going to happen unless we just take it that way.
Does it surprise you? I mean, you lose 4 games, and yet there's people out there saying you guys could legitimately have a chance at not only of New Year's 6, but getting in the 4. I mean, is that?
I don't know the formula.
Yeah.
I guess that's probably what keeps me up at night is more of like how you guys figure all that out. I have no idea. I don't know if you guys go to some special class to figure out how you're going to pick a team and all that. I really don't know. I'm just thinking about which one of those freshmen are we going to play. Can we keep these guys healthy throughout the year? That's really what it comes down to. And new coaches on staff. We got new faces. How these guys are going to respond when we get into a season. Those are the type of things. Because I really don't know how that formula is all put together.
Brian, you got some offensive players on your team I think remind you some people of the configurations of like the really potent Boise offenses of the past. Brian, development of them, Spurback, and the way that your running back played last year, your quarterback developed. Do you like the way that they blend together and what the potential could possibly be for you offensively?
Sure,
this year?
absolutely. Yeah, I like the way those guys have operated. McNichols, his production last year, Brett, even though we microwaved him to get him out there, he didn't get a chance to really, we liked him to marinate a little bit, but we had to throw him out there fast. And Spurbeck, Jake Rowe, some of the offensive linemen, Mario Yaku, Stephen Baggett, Travis Averill, those type of guys. Unsung heroes like Alec Dayens. Those are, I like the way those guys have operated together, how they're gelling together. Now we got to go out there and prove it. I think those guys will fight for each other. I really do. And probably when it's all said and done, because I know we're going to be in dogfights, that's really more of the key ingredient. But yeah, the potential. Everybody talks about potential and all that. I mean, it all looks good on paper. Let's go do it. But those guys, I've seen a different side of each one of those players in this off season. That's more exciting, and their leadership has been fun.
I was going to say with Brett, I mean, obviously, like you said, you microwaved him last year. You had a spring maybe finally to,
Yeah.
He knew the playbook, maybe gained more confidence. What are the biggest steps in his development you thought that he took advantage of in the spring to get him ready for this next time?
First is actually physical.
Okay.
Purely physical. If you just look at him, he looks different. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's faster. He has watched every single game he played in last year. So his knowledge, all right, and here's the thing about Brett. Brett actually self-evaluates the way we all should. He's honest about it. And he can put the good with the bad. And so he's self-evaluated himself to go, okay, here's what I did well, here's what I didn't do well, here's what I didn't know. And we've had those conversations, of how he can improve. And he's got really good ideas that way too. So his knowledge has grown as well. And I think probably the biggest area, his work ethic into his leadership. He's a guy, some guys can't always lead because they don't do all the work. All right, he works. He works. He puts in the time. He's there early. He is there late. He is first on, last off. And so now those expectations are not only of himself but other guys around him. And he'll tell you, all right, in a good way, this is what it takes. He's trying to do it, and certainly he's not there, but he's trying to do it, and he wants to make sure that other guys are trying to do the same thing. So probably his leadership is one of the biggest things that has stood out that I've seen. That's really exciting.